Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel HK Cruise. Today in this video I'll talk about AWS EC2. So I'll continue with my cloud computing series, and in my previous videos I already discussed about what cloud computing is, what is AWS. We talked about AWS IAM, about all the roles, permissions, user groups and all. So today I'll start with this EC2 part. So EC2 is a very important core component of this cloud computing thing. Okay, so let's start with this. So first of all, what is AWS EC2? So EC2 is your elastic compute cloud. That's why in short it is called EC2, and that is basically being provided by Amazon. Uh, as a part of its AWS service. Okay, so what EC2 gives is it allows user to rent virtual computers on which you can basically run your own computer application. So cloud service provider is nothing but they are just renting everything as a part of their service over the internet, and then you can run your own computer applications on the infrastructure which they are providing. Okay, so EC2 is basically a virtualized server that runs in AWS data centers. You do not have to do anything on your server, or you do not have to maintain anything out of that. Everything will be maintained by AWS in their virtualized server into their data centers, and it is being provided as an infrastructure as a service solution, that is an IaaS solution. Okay, so it is a simple web interface that allows you to obtain and configure capacity with the minimal friction, and it will go as a pay as you go model. So what you pay for only those particular time duration for which you are actually using that EC2 instance. Okay, so it basically provide you complete control of your computing resources. You turn it on whenever you want to use it, and then you can basically stop or terminate it when it is not of any use to you. Okay. It also reduces the time required to obtain and boot new server instances to minutes, because whenever you need it, you just demand for it. Or if you're already using the EC2, then you can also adopt some auto scaling mechanism to scale up your servers if the existing one is getting out of usage and memory. Okay, so that is a short overview of like what is AWS EC2 is all about. Okay, next comes is EC2 sizing and configuration options. So EC2 basically provide you full control of what you can basically configure in it. Okay, so it provides you the operating system options, like whatever operating system you want to choose to build your application on top of that. You can choose from Linux, Windows, Mac, any operating system you want. Also, it let you decide what is the computing power and core options which you demand. Okay, so you can select as many options from that. Also, it let you choose from different memory sizes, from different storage sizes and types. And if you want to have any thing which is would demand high network performance and speed, then accordingly you can choose different network cards also, where accordingly it will provide you different type of speed, network speed. Okay, so these are different configurations which you can choose. You can filter it out, and then you can select to meet your requirement, to meet your business requirements. Okay, and also you can basically configure firewalls also. So that is like a security configuration which you can do to make your EC2 instance more secure, your application more secure. Okay, and also whenever you are doing the configuration, then at the first launch, then you can do some bootstrapping script injection. So by that you can be basically using the EC2 user data, and by that whenever your first instance will be getting launched, whatever script you post into that, it will be run at that time. Okay, so that's the different configuration options available which you can configure on your own whenever you are requiring any EC2 instance. Next is bootstrapping. So what is bootstrapping? Bootstrapping means basically to launch commands when the machine starts. Okay, and it is basically used to perform common automated configurations tasks. So whenever you are running your machine for the first time, when you are launching an instance, so there are many configuration tasks which you need to perform, like update your system, update your OS, update your software if you want to install, or anything which is like a common task which you can automate it at the first time only. Okay, so this is the thing for which bootstrapping is basically used. Okay, and bootstrapping can also be used to ensure that a web server is installed and ready to go as soon as the instance is launched. And whenever we are launching any new instance, there is a user data section at the bottom of the instance launch window where we can provide all these details what we want to provide at a time of first launch. Okay, so this is what we define as a bootstrapping. Now next comes launching an EC2 instance. Whenever we want to launch an EC2 instance, we have to follow some path. we have to follow some practices which we can adopt, and then we can launch an EC2 instance. The first one is, as we already talked about in the last video, Amazon provides services which are localized to different regions. Okay, so whenever you want to launch any EC2 instance, first of all determine what AWS region you want. Okay, so once you select any AWS region, your EC2 instance will be launched into that particular region. Okay, then after deciding which AWS region you want, then you can basically select from pre-configured Amazon machine image AMI. You can also configure you can create or you can purchase your own AMI also, or you can use predefined pre-configured Amazon machine image also. What we will be using is, since we are using a free tier account as a part of this series, so we will be using a freely provided AMI from this Amazon, which we'll be using to launch an Amazon EC2 instance. After that, we can choose an instance type based on CPU, memory, storage, network requirement, and everything. There's a different configuration options, but we will be basically sticking to the default options which are being provided as a part of our free free tier service. So, but there are different configurations which you can choose upon. And after that, you can configure your network, your IP address, your security groups, storage volume, text, key pair, everything. You can configure it to make it more secure for you to launch an EC2 instance. Okay, so let's see how we can basically launch an EC2 instance. I'll go to the management console and we'll launch an EC2 instance from there. Okay, so I am logged in as an IAM user, and this is the management console homepage. So I'll search for the EC2 service from here. So I got the EC2. I'll click on this. Once you will land to this page, you just have to look for this instances in the left navigation, and here you can click on this instances. Okay, since I do not have any instances as of now, that's why it is showing me that no instances. Okay, so what we can do, we can create a new instance. For that, what I'll do, I'll click on this launch instance. So we can provide any name or tag which you want to provide. So let's say I give my first, let's see, EC2 instance for demo. Okay, I given the name for this particular EC2 instance. Then I can select this application and OS images. Okay, that is Amazon machine image. From this quick start, we can select whatever machine we want as a part of our AMI. But we will basically stick to this free tier eligible for us because we are using a free tier account. Okay, there are different options which you can see, like there are different options which you can select from here. Okay, so I'll select from this Amazon Linux providing, and this will be my Amazon Linux 2 AMI. I will select. Okay. After this, in the architecture also, you have an option whether you want to select 64-bit x86 or 64-bit ARM. I'll go with this default selection of 64-bit x86. Okay. After that, there are different instance type which you can select, but for the free tier eligible, that is only T2.micro. Okay, so these are different EC2 instance type. We will talk about in detail in the later part of this video. Okay, but just for your reference, there are different type of instance type which you can select. So selecting any specific type of instance type will basically give you number of core memory. It gives you storage, network speed, everything it will give you, and you can configure it as per your need. You can select different type of instance type. Okay, so as a part of free tier eligibility, we are selecting this T2.micro because this is an upgraded version than T1.micro. Okay, so we are selecting this T2.micro. Now we will be needing this key pair login. So what we are doing currently, we are just setting up our EC2 instance. After setting up this, when we want to basically connect to this EC2 instance, then we will be needing a key pair. We will be needing a combination of keys to log into that particular instance, to connect to that particular instance. So that is more like an SSH thing which we will be doing to connect to our instance. So what we will do, we will just select if there is any predefined key pair is already present, but since I am selecting doing it first time, so there is no existing key pair present. So what I will do, I'll just create a new key pair. Okay, and I can provide a name EC2 key pair for demo purpose. Okay, so it will give me this EC2 key pair for demo purpose. Let's say key pair type is RSA. So depending on what type of computer you are using, since I am using a OS, that's why I'm selecting this .pam file key format, because I will be using this open SSH from my terminal to connect to my EC2 instance. But if you are using, let's suppose, Windows machine and you are using this putty application, then you can select .ppk file format to save your RSA key. Okay, so I'm just clicking on this create key pair. This will automatically download your private key onto your system. So this is being downloaded. Now next comes your network settings. Okay, so for that, what we will do, we can either create first of all, we have to configure our security groups. That is basically your firewall. So for to connect to to your EC2 instance, you need a firewall basically present, so that there will not be any malicious activity onto your EC2 instance. For that, you will have to configure your firewall, which is being done basically by your security groups. Okay, so there are two options. Either you can create your own security group, or you can select any existing security group. Okay, so let's first check with this existing security group. Okay, so I'll click on this drop down, and this is basically a default security group which is being provided by Amazon, but I will not go with this. Okay, what I'll do, I'll create a new security group for my own this application. And you will see, whenever we are creating a new security group, the first time when you're creating it, you will get this name, something like this, launch wizard 1. Okay, and if you will create a security groups after that, you will get launch wizard 2 and so on. Okay, and now what you want to do, you can basically allow SSH traffic from, you can, so this means you are allowing traffic from anywhere. So from any machine, you will be able to connect to your EC2 instance. Also, I'm allowing this HTTP traffic from the internet. So so I will be able to connect to my EC2 instance from any browser, basically from anywhere, from any IP, because I am not restricting it to any particular IP or something. Okay, so from I will be able to make an HTTP connection as well as an SSH connection from from anywhere. Okay, next coming this configuration storage. So this is like your default configuration storage which is being provided by Amazon. If I go to this advanced section, here you can see like GIB size is your 8 GIB which is being used, volume type of your GPT. And notice on this is delete on termination. We have selected it as yes. So whenever we will delete our EC2 instance, when we will basically terminate our EC2 instance, so this EBS volume, it will get delete, because we have selected this delete on termination as yes. Okay, and if we will select it as no, so if we will terminate our EC2 instance, then this EBS volume will not be deleted. Okay, so I am leaving it as yes for now. Okay, so this is just, I wanted to show you, there is nothing which we have to configure to launch an EC2 instance for now. Next, I'll click on this advanced details and I'll skip all this and we'll go to the bottom of this, where we can provide this user data. So this is the bootstrapping part, where we can provide a script whatever we want to run at the first time when our EC2 instance will be launched. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll copy paste the script. So this is my script which I will be using and which will be launched at the time of this first thing. So what it will do, it will basically launch a Apache web server when it will your EC2 instance will launch. So first of all, what we will do, we are providing this to let know that we have to let instance know that we have to use this bash uh, operator. Then what I'm doing is I'm getting the latest bug fixes and security updates by updating the software on the EC2 instance. For that, I'm doing this sudo yum update y. So that I have done sudo yum update y. Now what I'm doing is sudo yum install y. This is basically your installation of your Apache web server. And after that, I'm doing is just starting this Apache web server. And after that, I'm just enabling it so that whenever I'll run it next time, your Apache web server will be enabled by default. Okay, so I'll just copy this script and we'll paste it into the user data section. Okay, that's it. That's all we have to do. I'll just click on this launch instance. Okay, you can see this success message here, successfully initiated launch of instance. Okay. Um launch log if we want to see that initializing request succeeded, create security group succeeded, creating security group rules is also succeeded, and launch initiation is succeeded. Okay, so let's just go back to click on this instances, and here you can see one instance has been created. Notice on this state, currently it is in pending state. We will talk about it, different instance state later in our section. Okay, for now, just focus on this, that it has initially it was pending, now it has changed to running, which means our services is EC2 instance is now in running state. Okay, if I click on this, we can see different details around it. Like you can see the instance summary. This is your instance ID. This is your public IPv4 address. This is your private IPv4 address. This is your instance state. This is your public IPv4 DNS, and every information basically which you can get. Okay, auto scaling we have not enabled it, that's why there is nothing kind of auto scaling. We have used Amazon Linux, the thing which we can see here. Our operating system is like a Linux thing which we are using. Okay, coming to the security, we have this security group, that launch wizard one which we created the first time, and we enabled two kind of things, like we enabled SSH, and SSH is basically run on this port 2020 22. So that's why you can see it as a group of rule, TCP protocol, and the source is 00000, means from anywhere you will be able to do this SSH connection. Also this I turned it on for a HTTP protocol. So HTTP port number is 80. That's why it is showing here. Again, since for this also the source is anywhere, so we will be able to do an HTTP connection from anywhere over the net. Okay. These are for the inbound rules. For by default, the inbound traffic is restricted until we specifically allow it. Okay, and by default, outbound rule is allowed for all type of protocol for all port range until we restrict it. Okay, so that's the outbound rule is reverse of inbound rule. So inbound rule is restriction by default, and outbound rule is allowed by default. Okay. Next is your networking, storage, status check, monitoring, everything. Okay, so that is like everything which you can see about this instance. Okay, now let's open our new EC2 instance. I click on this open address, but you will notice that it is not getting load. Okay, because by default browser trying to update an application from HTTP to HTTPS connection. That's why you are just seeing this as loading. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this IP. And I'll open it in this manner. Okay, so here you can see this test page, which is for default page by Apache web server. Okay, so this web page is returning because we do not have any other file and this under this where www.html directory. Since we are not having any file under this, that's why we are getting this default page. Okay, so this is how your instance EC2 instance is being set up, and you can see. Next is your EC2 instance type. Okay, so this particular website, this your official Amazon EC2 instance type link provides a list of all the different type of EC2 instances which you can basically select. Okay, let's go to this website link first. So this is our Amazon EC2 instance type. So what it provided, it provides you a wide selection of instance type optimized to fit different use cases. Okay, so these are different EC2 instance type, from general purpose to compute optimized to memory optimized to storage optimized to instance performance and all. So these are basically different EC2 instance type, and as per your need you can select any of this basically. Okay, let's, if I take an example of this general purpose, so this general purpose instance provide a balance of your compute, memory and network resources. So it's like a different balance, and it basically provide you a diverse workload. Okay, and if you remember, when we were creating our EC2 instances, we select this T2 option. Okay, so under this T2 option there are different instances, and we selected this T2.micro. Okay, So if you see the details of this, like what this T2.micro provides is CPU is 1. Okay, CPU credits are 6. Memory is 1. Storage is EBS only type storage. We will see in the later videos what is EBS and all. And the network performance is low to moderate. So these are different instance type information which is present. If you go to this memory optimized one, here you can see memory optimized instances are designed to deliver fast performance for workloads that processes large data sets in memory. Okay, so again, there are different EC2 instances which you can select if your need is memory optimization. And let's suppose take an example of this R5N. So here under this R5N, you can see different instance sizes. As per the different instance sizes, you have different CPU memory, is storage, networking performance, and all. So these are different EC2 types. As per your need, you can select it. Next we have is like EC2 instance type naming convention. Okay, so if you notice, whenever we have an EC2 instance, we have a nomenclature in this manner. Okay, so the first letter which it represent is your instance family. Okay, so if you have a compute one, then it is have C, and if you have something other than that, it will have whatever first letter it will basically represent your instance family. Second one yours is your instance generation. Okay, so if currently C5 means it will create advanced version, then C4, C3, C2, C1. Okay, and this and here represents your particular attribute related to that particular instances. Okay, so it is like an optional thing. Not every nomenclature will be having this particular attribute. Like if I take an example of T2.micro, so in that T was your instance family, 2 was your generation, but it was not having any attribute. That's why it was having only T2 dot. Okay, and after that, whatever we are having, it represents your instance size. Here it is X large. In the T2 micro, the instance size was micro. Okay, so this is like a general nomenclature of EC2 instances type. Okay, from this can basically use it and we can determine what instance we are using. Next is EC2 instance type comparison. Okay, so we have different EC2 instances type as I show in the official Amazon website. If I take a slight comparison between all of these, so like first one is a general purpose. So it is basically being used for low traffic websites and the web applications which are having low traffic. Okay, and it is also being used for website having small database and mid-size database requirement. So if you're having this general type of variety, then you can go for this general purpose. So you will get a balance of your computation power, your resource, your memory, your networking performance, and all. Everything will be balanced. Everything will be. That's why it is called as general purpose. Next one is your compute optimized. Okay, so in this compute optimized, your what your requirement is basically, if you have the requirement something like your high performance front end fleets you needed, or you need some video encoding, or you are having some dedicated gaming servers or something for which you need a high amount of computation power. So for this all type of these use cases, you will go for this compute optimized EC2 instance type. Okay, and third one is like memory optimized. If your requirement is something like your high performance database need, okay, your need is your distributed memory caches. So in all those cases, you will go for the instance type, which is memory optimized type. Okay, because that will give you high performance. Next one is your storage optimized. So this is basically being used if your use case is more about data warehousing. You want to store a large amount of data. You want to do a logging or data processing application. You want to log everything which is your application is using. So that will generate a large amount of data. And so you have to store that particular data and you have to optimize it so that it can be used in an optimized manner. So whenever your use case is of this type, you will opt for this storage optimization. Okay. The next one is a GPU instance. Okay, so just GPU instance, you will go for if your use cases will be of type like your 3D application streaming, your machine learning. So if you're having this high usage of use case, then you will basically go for this GPU instance. Okay. Also, there is a website, this instances.vantage.sh, where you can compare the different EC2 instance type, and it will help you to decide what EC2 instance size you should select. Okay, let's go back to the site to see. If you will Google it, EC2 instance type comparison, you will get a link here, this Amazon EC2 instance comparison. If I'll click on this, you will basically land onto this page. Here you can see like you have different filters. You can select it on the region wise, pricing, unit, cost, reserved. Then you can have different filters. Okay, let's suppose I'll select for this Asia Pacific region. Okay, and my pricing instance, let's suppose this I'm keeping it as instance. Cost, I'm keeping it as secondly. Okay, making it reserved for, let's suppose, 3 year, and I'm doing the payment of full upfront. Okay, so it now it will give me the list of all the available EC2 type instances. And now let's suppose my memory requirement is something like 192 minimum. Okay, so it will filter out the risk sources on the basis of that. Let's suppose now I want a minimum instances storage, or let's suppose minimum CPU is 96. Okay, so again it will filter out all the resources, and as I can see, I'm getting these filtered options only. Okay, now if I want to have a higher network performance, so let's suppose I'm selecting this as 100 GB as a minimum network performance requirement. Okay, so you are seeing some again filtered out result. So here you can see different names here. So this will help you to basically filter out as per your need. Okay, so go to this website. I'll provide the link of this website in the description below, so you can check this out. Okay, so yeah, this is all in the today's video. In the next video of this EC2, I'll cover more in details about this EC2 and the storage of EC2, like ABS volume and all. Please do like the video, share this video with your friends and colleagues, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel Ethical Cruise. Also, you can visit my blogging website ethicalcruise.com, where you can read about the security practices, footprinting, reconnaissance, cloud computing, AWS, and all. So I will see you all in the next video to continue with this cloud computing series and to continue with the next part of this EC2. Okay, till then, thank you all. Bye bye.